Howdy folks, greetings and salivations. I have an update for you on the Sabre V65 final drive saga and story. Yesterday I took the bike up to OCC Roadhouse in Clearwater, Florida. That's basically adjacent or right across the driveway, not across the road, on their property to Birch Barracuda Harley Davidson. And so that was an AMCA, that's the Antique Motorcycle Club of America, vintage motorcycle show and meet, sponsored by the Gulf Coast chapter. And so I decided to go up because I am an AMCA member and put the Sabre in the show because it met the criteria of at least 35 years old. Met some really nice people. My neighbor down the road, he went up there on one of his bikes and we had a good time. I only stayed maybe 2.5, 3 hours and then ended up coming home. But after I got up there, since I had just done the final drive work and I was on the interstate for, it's like 46 miles or so, 49 miles, 70, 75 miles an hour. As soon as I pulled it in and I parked it on the floor, put it on the center stand, and I decided to check the final drive to see how hot it was. Didn't sound hot, didn't behave hot, didn't smell hot. I put my hand on it and it was like boiling hot. And I went, oh no, what the hell? I kind of just thought about that for a while, enjoyed the show, hang around with some really nice people, cleared out, went home, did the same route on the interstate, same speeds, got back here to the garage workshop, checked it again. It was so hot, I couldn't even hold my hand on it. I took the laser thermometer and I got 139 to 140 degrees. And I went, you gotta be kidding me, that's way, way too hot. Drained the oil out of it immediately into this pan. The oil looked okay, but it does, I'll show you that here in a second. But I'm like, there's got to be a problem with this final drive still, and I just couldn't quite figure out why. The tire spun fine up on the center stand, didn't drag, didn't growl, didn't hear any noise from it, but it is hot, hot, hot.
Hottest thing I've seen all week.
So I'm just going to update you on what I found and what I'm going to do about it. And oh, by the way, what I'm going to do is, after this quick update, I'm going to go ahead and put the photos in, little video clips rather, from the show that I went to yesterday, the motorcycle show. And after that, I might as well just go ahead and throw in those car show clips I took a couple weeks ago when Ichabod and I went to a local car show. And you might get some enjoyment out of both those segments. So let's spin around now. We'll take a look at the final drive. Okay, so I got the pinion out. Everything looks fine in here. Everything looks fine as far as the ring gear goes. Here's the oil from yesterday. Now this, I don't know how clean this pan was, but there is that floating halo, if you will, that you get when there's like metal in oil. I put the magnet down inside the final drive and in the oil, and I didn't get any ferrous pieces out at all. Not even that ferrous gunk that comes out like when you have a magnetic drain plug. Nothing. And this is where it was the hottest. This thing, of course, is mounted this way. And so when I was shooting the laser down at it this way, it was hottest right here. And basically that's where the bearing was. Like 135, 100 something here, a little bit cooler over here, but right there it was 139, 140 degrees Fahrenheit. I had no drivability issues or noise or anything whatsoever. It performed flawlessly as far as that goes. So let's go over to the bench and I'll show you some stuff in regards to the bearings. Okay, so here's a couple of parts here, as you can see, spread out. I was just putting a little bit of Prussian blue back on it to redo the printing. I realized that in the last video I put way too much Prussian blue on it. Really, you just need a touch so you can actually read the direction on the mating gear, the ring gear, where this thing actually is meshing. That was my intention, and so I will do that eventually. But anyway, here is the race, the outer race of the new 6305. These are also the balls from the new 6305. And over here is that machined brass window cage from the new 6305. This is the outer race from the old 6305. All right, so this is what I noticed right off the bat. And by the way, of course, the peak ball retainer from the old one is right here in this little bin over here. Anyway, I was looking at this when I took it apart, and I took the balls out of this cage, and I'm comparing it to this old bearing here. And one thing I noticed was that on one side, this cage won't go in on the old bearing. And I'm like, why would that be the case if they're the exact same size bearing? And then I spun it around and the cage will go on this side. And I said, you know what? This has got an orientation. It has to have an orientation as to the way it's installed. And I remember 100%, I'm 100% sure on this. Remember, this is the old bearing. The numbers were on the inside. The numbers were like this. I'm 100% sure of that. Just like I am 100% sure that as far as this peak cage goes, this side was out because I could look down and see this odd looking, feature in this orientation on the original bearing when I first took it apart. And I'm like, okay, so I couldn't see the numbers, they were in, and this was out. And if you notice, when it's out, the open part is in, toward the oil side. That's something to keep in mind. It's kind of important here as far as the theory goes. So we'll switch over to the new outer race, and of course it fits perfectly inside here. But when you have this thing installed and the balls are in there, and of course you have your inner race, there is very little room between the inner race, the outer race, and this brass cage for gear oil to get in there. Now if you compare it with the peak one, plastic one, and we'll put this in the correct orientation as if it went in, so it's like this. And that sumbitch is pretty much wide open. Here, whoops, here's one of the original inner races. Much different. The balls are exposed basically, and they're getting completely bathed with oil without any restriction whatsoever. I think that is one of the problems. I think it's being under-oiled because it's not destroyed. There's a little bit of wear on the inside of these holes. You'd expect that though. And I think that's maybe what that floating shit is in the oil, is actually brass, because like I said, nothing ferrous comes out. So I'm looking at this going, well, I'm just going to put the old bearing back in and just eat this one because, it's a learning experience. And I thought about it and said, but why is this thing not fitting one way but it fits the other? Must have some sort of orientation. So I measured the sidewalls using a caliper, and this guy, as far as, remember, this is the old outer race. On this particular side of it comes up at about 254, 255, and on this side, which is the inside, 256. Now I measured the new bearing height as far as that same dimension, and this one is like 247. It's almost 10 thousandths smaller as far as that sidewall goes. This one is pretty much the same as far as that wall thickness goes. And I'm thinking this bearing actually has a slightly higher sidewall on the raceway than the new one, even though it's the exact same number, 6305 RBI. They're both labeled Koyo. Remember that particular one, the new one, is manufactured by this J Tech place, formerly sold as Koyo. And I'm saying, I'm just going to have to go back to this old bearing. But, and here's where it gets real sketchy. And you know me, I don't really shy away from experimentations on my own shit when it gets sketchy. These older balls, or the original balls I should say, my balls are old but not these, do have some marks on them, like pitting. I mentioned that before in video number 1. You can kind of see that. Right on top there, that does not come off. The balls are like a little bit damaged. So I didn't want to use them. They are basically the same size. They're within several tenths of exactly the same size as the balls from the new bearing. Maybe within 5/10. So this is what I'm going to do. And you probably figured it out already. I am going to take the old outer race and the old inner races. Here's the other one here. Clean them up really good. And the peak retainer, and I'm going to use the new balls. This is, I am convinced this is not like a matched bearing that you'd have in a precision bearing like you use on very high RPM machine tool spindles where the inner race and the outer race have like marks on them where you have to line them up to a certain feature on your spindle usually. And, you know, as far as balancing and things like that, there's no way that this bearing had that kind of precision. Balls are balls. They're round and they're the same size. So I'm going to take those balls, that bearing, put them in here with this, put this in this way, the way it was originally with the writing down in, and put it in this way with the peak thing that way so the balls are totally exposed to the oil. And we're going to run it because I think that that is part of the problem. But the other part of the problem is in the manner in which I torqued up the bearing. Now you recall in another video I tried, straighten you out here, I tried to torque this up with a torque wrench. It goes to 80 foot-pounds as far as the bearing retainer goes. The bearing retainer's right here. So that goes to 80 foot LBSs. And I couldn't get the vise to hold still, as you saw in that video, so I just kind of ugga-dugga it, all right? Well, it turns out that my red, what is it, the Bauer, or whatever this thing is, yeah, Bauer lithium from Harbor Fraud, that thing can put out a shit ton of torque over 80 foot-pounds because I was able to get this torqued up just a little while ago when I first put it back in, and I took it back out when I realized what I needed to show you guys and that I wanted to make a change. I can absolutely torque this up with a torque wrench, and when I do, that dot is not farther over to the right like it was when I ugga-dugga it. So net sum, I believe I was over torquing that bearing by using the impact on it. Go figure. And as a result, I probably distorted, not permanently distorted, but I may have distorted the sidewalls of this bearing just a little bit. Made it so it was generating a heck of a lot more heat. So I think combination of that error of over torquing, the brass cage, which is a big lumpy thing. Yeah, with that combination and this thing, you know, rubbing on the bearings and the balls in there. I mean, normally I like the balls being rubbed, but not necessarily by a piece of brass. I think this was generating an excessive amount of heat. Again, with the situation, I think it was over torqued. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to put it back together. I have a good feeling about the fact that I think this is going to reduce that heat and actually make this thing right.
That's bullshit.
No! God, please, no! No!
Nope, we're not going to do that. Well, I was going to do it. In fact, I did do it. And I put the final drive back on and said, screw it. We're just going to mix and match bearing parts. And I thought about it and said, that is absolutely the wrong thing to do. So I pulled the wheel back off because I needed that spider because I got another final drive. But I've also ordered a brand new, what is it, 6503 RBI bearing, just like this one from Partzilla. It was close to 150 bucks. I'm going to go ahead and return that. I'll explain here in a second. This final drive comes from an 85 allegedly on eBay. They have a little video of the bike before they broke it down. At first I thought that's a shame, but it is in pretty rough shape. But they show a shot of the Speedo, and it's only got 12,000 miles and change. That's most likely very accurate as far as, I'm sure this part, in other words, came from that bike. I bought from this seller before. This seller is Sunco Cycle Sports up in Odessa, which is, I'm not sure if that's in Pinellas or North Hillsboro, so off Gun Highway. It was like $42.63, including shipping. And they sent me the drive shaft, which is over there. Nothing wrong with that if I need one. But the main thing that I wanted this for, you know, I was going to check the bearing, was this guy right here. We got a new coupler. As you recall, the other one I had to turn down all that corrosion. This has just got some surface staining, really. I can't feel that at all. So we're going to use this coupler on that final drive, and we're going to replace that bearing in there with this one, which is the one that came out of that one that I got from the eBay sale with 12,000 and change miles on it. This bearing, which I've already cleaned in kerosene, is absolutely, positively mint. Because the balls on mine that I took out, the original one, my balls have all sorts of dimples all over them.
That is way too much information.
And I'm not talking about the bearing, but the bearing's got all sorts of little pitting on those balls. These are completely pristine. We're going to put that bearing in there, return the one I ordered from Partzilla when it comes. This is the pinion that came out of there. Obviously, we don't swap pinions. I'm not that stupid. Besides, it's about the same amount of wear on it anyway. This is the spacer that came off this one. It is a 2 mil. We're going to go with the one that I made that's a little bit wider. That's in this one. So I'll go ahead and get that done and then come back when it's all back together. Okay, so we're all back together. We're in running condition. No question, I learned a lot from doing this. Now, this is my bike, so I don't have a problem experimenting. I wouldn't do experimentation on somebody's bike they brought in for me to work on. Not to this level, at least. Because I had no idea anything about these final drives. I thought I did, like I pointed out in one of the videos, one of the other 2 videos, but I didn't. Now I know a lot more. And since we're back with the original bearing, we've come pretty much full circle. Or is it full circle?
Because it's a circle.
Yeah, we heard about the circle.
Yes, we're familiar with shapes.
Hey.
I don't have any doubt that this bearing's going to be fine because it was in so much better condition than the original one that I took out of it. This one here that came out of the final drive from eBay, good condition. I'm just going to pilfer parts. And by the way, that connection collar that goes in there, the one that holds the tension on the center of the bearing, pristine condition once I cleaned it up. I replaced that and used the nut off of this one too because it was in better shape. Torqued everything back up. And with that original bearing in there, we know it's the way it's supposed to be. I did not bother doing backlash inspection, nor did I reprint the meshing of the gears. Why bother? You don't need to. So, yeah. You know, I learned a whole lot, as I said before, on this. I don't mind throwing some money at something. Probably get, well, I'm going to subtract that almost $150 from the bearing that I'm going to return to Partzilla that's still on the way. But if you take that out of the equation, I probably got $250 in all these bearings and stuff. You know, the one from bearing 123, the one from this one, the one from that one. But I don't mind throwing money at something when I learn something. I think the cost-benefit analysis favors, you know, spending that kind of money to learn something. And I learned a ton doing this. So that's what the update's all about, to tell you I learned something. And then I absolutely was stupid before, and now I'm not so stupid about this stuff. Oh, by the way, I wanted to show you this. I don't know if I covered it before or not. I changed the, what do you call it, the breather on this. I made one custom out of brass and bronze, which is really cool. It normally is like this, chrome, you know, and rusted and pitted. And all it is a piece that sticks up with a hole in the side of it. And then that caps it off. Actually, that's kind of made, it's made in one piece. This one's made in one piece. This was made in 2 pieces, as you can see. And it works just great. I think it looks really cool. It'll be kind of a unique feature on the bike and the final drive. So you have been updated. You want to see more junk like this, you know what you need to do. Thanks for watching.
I see fat people.
Beautiful one. Come here. Leave it alone.
Yeah, how's that sound?
Now this is my speed here. Wow, a 68 Coronet RT. I had a 67. The same 440 Magnum power plant. Man, I missed that car. That's really beautiful. Wow. Oh, it's a ragtop. Mine was not. I had a Chrysler 300 convertible ragtop. But my RT was not a rag top, it was a hard top. That's beautiful. I could live without the Kragers, but yeah. This ain't the Savoy, is it? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it is the Savoy. Oh yeah, now that's a car right there. The Savoy was basically Chrysler's factory available to the public drag racing package that you bought of essentially no warranty, no nothing. And you probably signed some waivers that were appropriate for the time, but this is a 62. And back then they did these, they sold them out and for people to go drag racing. And they were set up for that purpose, as minimalistic interiors, things like that. And absolutely balls to the wall. I don't know about the engine originality, but balls to the wall. The last one I saw, I thought had a 426 Hemi in it, but I'm not 100% sure about that. That was at a different car show. What a beauty. Let's take a look at the interior real quick. Yeah, very minimalistic. This is probably a reproduction sticker, but this is what you would have had on there. It did originally have a Hemi, 426. This car is intended for use as supervised acceleration trials, aka drag racing, not intended for highway or general passenger car use. Sold as is. You can see there that the 12-month or 12,000 mile vehicle warranty coverage, 5-year and 50,000 drivetrain does not apply to this vehicle. You can see it says in the warranty section down below, the 12-month or 12,000 mile coverage and the 50,000 mile powertrain coverage doesn't apply to the vehicle. That's what I was saying before. Compulsory inline 6 200 cubic inch Mustang. Good motor. I'm kind of partial to the 250 myself, but or AMC's 258 straight 6, which I think was one of the best ones ever made. And by the way, the Jeep 4.0, when Chrysler bought them out, is based on that old 258 block, that engine, in case you didn't know that. Try this again. Mopar or no car? It's an old pickup. Let's see what model it is. Not really sure. I can't tell. I'm not terribly familiar with them. Oh, wait a minute. There it is. D200. You can see it up there. This is a 2019. 2019? It's the same year as mine. It's a Ram 1500 with the classic package, which is what mine has, but it has more chrome. Anyway, mine got the 4-door. This is only 2-door cab. This is like the sport version, I guess. Kind of cool. I mean, not that I would want it. I like my truck better with the 4 doors, but it's just kind of neat looking. There's a shot of the side there. 50s Bel Air, I'd say. I have to look at the window sticker thing. There he is, getting involved. 56. She's in nice shape. I love that engine. That's all original. Not. Beautiful though. What? Willwood? Or is that 3? I don't know. Leather. See, that's what I want to get in my truck. I want to get some leather. I've seen this one around. Yeah. It's like the American Graffiti. Little yellow jacket. 33 Ford window coupe. Wow. Well, Henry would be like, what the hell did you do to my car? '32 Ford. All original engine. Not. That is cool. Wow. It's a bitchin' blower. This is a very well done modification right here. With an old Falcon. And I tell you what, having that kind of motor in there is very tastefully done in my opinion. It ain't too much and it ain't too little. Wow. Wow, it's a SEMA vehicle, SEMA show vehicle. Oh shit. What? What do you want? Nice. Wow. Did they revise or revive rather the Super Bee? Looks like a Super Bee emblem. Yeah, SRT Charger. Dodge Charger. Huh. I mean, I like them, but it ain't like one of the old ones, like a 68 or a 69. Now that was the year of the fastbacks. Those were the best ones. Now would you look at that freaking 396 SS ragtop. I think it's an SS. Maybe it ain't an SS. Yes, it is. SS 396. 4-speed, all matching numbers, and a convertible. Wow. Isn't that something? Oh shit, I think the window sticker's on it. Let's take a look at the original window sticker. $4,011.90. Would you believe that shit? Wow, Augusta. Co Chevrolet, Augusta, Maine. Been to Augusta quite a few times, actually. Won't tell you why. Has to do with prison. Just kidding. No date on this, though. I don't see it. Chevrolet in Baltimore, Maryland. The only thing they make in Baltimore, Maryland now is criminals. I don't know what's up with this phone. It does not want to zoom in and out. Stupid iPhones. Anyway, there's a nice goat. I'd say it's 68? 67, okay. Another 67, I'd say. Beautiful. Gran Turismo Oblongata. Something like that. Maryland tags on that, probably just for show. Come on. He doesn't care about anything but Mopars. A nice older GTO. I like this body style of GTO a lot, actually. Yeah. I do not like that one. I am not a fan of that GTO. Those and this. Absolutely. Take a look at the tri-power on this one. Probably a 389. Okay. Now we're talking. Now this is 65, but it's very similar to the 67 that a relative has that lives up in southern Maine. Ragtop. Gotta be a 389, I'm guessing. Tri-power. Beautiful. Originally from Stratford, Connecticut. I know where that is. That's where Sikorsky Aircraft is. glove box signed by the Beach Boys. Yeah, okay. Wow. That's beautiful. Is that a freaking drag slip? Right in a motorsports park. ETs, 12.4s. Not bad. 110 miles an hour. To be honest with you, my concourse could probably beat that, but still, it's pretty good. Nice. Really, really nice. That's an interesting intake setup on that. Wow. Huh. Common rail fuel injection of some sort. Not multi-port, so yeah. That's interesting. Of course, this is more interesting. 68 Charger RT. RT? Yeah, it says RT, but I don't see the badging. Oh yeah, I see it now. It's on the front. See, my RT, the 67 had it on the sides and the front, and in the back. I think on the front. I know it had it on the sides. Mickey Thompson. Okay, wish it was original, but oh well. Very cool. Guessing a 383. See if we can find the information on that. Beautiful. I love it. I love the color too. Come on, we'll live without the Kragers, but it's nice. Is that 383? Well, it is a 440.
It's a
hard to tell.
2001.
That is beautiful. Look at that thing. Old International with fake reproduction veggies. See if we can get a little closer to it. Probably be their 1 ton for the period. Let's take a look what it's got for an engine. Oh, it's got an old flathead.
Okay, listen up. If you have come in, paid at the gate.
I'm not listening up.
Come in, but you have not bought your...